Wolves 1, Manchester United 2, and I'm very surprised. As I said, going into the game with the lineups when they were announced, I was very worried. A lot of youngsters and a lot of the reserve players, but we played some very good football at times. A lot of good passing moves, flicks, passing, the fluidity at times as well. I was impressed with. I thought Twanzebe was a rock at the back. Diallo looked good. I thought Donny had his best game I've seen him have for the club. A great first goal for Alanga as well. Bullet header from a great cross from Dan James as well. A terrific performance, and the 3 points, which I was not expecting. Henderson wasn't really tried other than the goal they scored. Traore went off injured. I do think that benefited us massively, because I think Traore was definitely their main threat, and him going off was definitely a bonus for us, and that changed the game as well for me. But we looked good even when Traore was on the pitch for Wolves, so I was impressed today, pleasantly surprised. But I still would have had the likes of Bruno and Pogba and brought them on for a few minutes just to go into that final with a few minutes under their belt instead of going in cold, because I think that could be problematic in the final. So we'll have to wait and see on that, but... match notes: Twanzebe give the ball away early on, put Matic in trouble, and Traore blasted over. But other than that, I thought Twanzebe was a rock. That was early in the game. Long ball from Telles for Alanga with a cross over the top, and he miscontrolled it. But a great ball from Telles, and nearly gets away with it, Alanga, and gets a shot off, but miscontrolled it. Good play from Dan James to Alanga, who does great to get the shot off, but is too high. James then makes it 1-0 for Man United with a great cross for a header for Alanga, 1-0. Telles then with a corner, Bay gets his head to it but heads wide. Silva up top for Wolves then has a header wide from Traore. Silva then has a header wide from Traore. Traore then has a wild shot which deflected out. Semedo makes it 1-1. Matic slipped initially. And then there was a few errors at the back on the defensive line. Couldn't clear the ball, and it's scrappy. Semedo is falling over when he actually scores, and it's 1-1. Just bad defensive errors there. Williams gets a shot, the keeper saved. Williams' shot, keeper saves it though. Telles followed it up with a volley, but went over the bar. Donny van der Beek then got caught in the box, and I do think it is a foul, and I do think it was a penalty. He didn't go down straight from the contact, which I thought when they were looking at it on VAR might play against him, but they ended up giving the penalty. I do think it was a penalty, and Mata steps up and converts it 2-1 for potentially his final game for the club, Mata, so that was great to see. Second half, Jose, who come on for Traore, had a weak header which Henderson collected. Neves then whips a ball in like a cross-come shot, and it just goes over the bar. Would have had Henderson beat though, but it sailed over a little, not too far high, but over. Diallo then puts a through ball for Dan James, who makes it one-on-one with the keeper, and he tries to chip him, and he gets it horribly wrong, and it just looks horrible. So unfortunate there. Great ball from Diallo, great vision, great weight on the pass, and sets up James, who should be scoring, to be honest. Nuri then weak cross collected by Henderson for Wolves. Twanzebe then made two vital blocks in the box for us. Wolves putting a lot of pressure on in the last minutes of the game, and Twanzebe showing up big with two vital blocks. Neves then had a long shot that went well wide. Diallo then had a shot outside the box which took a slight deflection, and Patricio collected it. Gibbs White with a shot wide, the best chance of the game other than their goal for Wolves. It made Henderson stretch, but it went wide. And then Bolly with a long shot near the end. Not a bad effort from a centre-back, and one that doesn't get a lot of shots off. Not too far wide, pretty good effort from him, but goes wide nonetheless. So it's 2-1 to Manchester United. Great for the young players and experience for them. And I thought the reserves and the older lot done okay today, but for the most part I thought the youngsters were better, which was good to see, and they got the experience under their belt as well. So match ratings: Henderson I would give an average 2. Didn't have a lot to do, as I said, collected a lot of sort of weak headers and things like that, and just half chance balls, and you know what I mean, nothing really, not really tested today, and I don't think the goal he can really do anything about. So yeah, he gets an average today. Williams, I'd give just above average with a 6. Thought he was pretty solid. Maybe lost the ball a few times, but I thought his energy was good. And at the end of the game, he was making keeping hold of the ball well, drawing fouls and things like that. So I thought he done well today, Williams, considering he hadn't had a lot of football this year. I do think he stepped in it and did well. So above average with a 6. Bay, I'd give an average to. I don't think he was great today. I don't think he was terrible. But Tuanzebe was definitely the better of the two. But Bay just went along steadily. I give him a 5. Tuanzebe for me, contention for man of the match. I'd give him an 8 today. Solid at the back. Other than that first initial early on chance for Traore that he blasted wide where he put Matic in trouble. After that he was rock solid. Thought he had a very good game, and I'd give him an 8. Tellez I'd give a 7 to. Whipped some balls in today, had a few chances and shots himself. Good energy and one of the better performances from him, so I give him a 7. Matic I thought was below par today, considering he was captain and should have been the most experienced in the team. I don't think he had a great game. I thought he made several mistakes, gave the ball up continuously. So I was a little bit disappointed with Matic today, but we get away with it. But he gets a 4 for me. Donny I'd give an 8 to today, another man of the match contender. Best game I've seen from Donny, I've got to be honest. The link-up play, the touch, the control. He just looked very positive today, and I thought he looked very good. And that's the Donny that I've been waiting to see for a long time, and he showed it today for me. So he gets an 8. Diallo I'd give a 7, and obviously he won the penalty as well, Donny. Diallo I'd give a 7 to. I thought he looked very lively again. Set up Dan James for that one-on-one, which James made a mess of. But Diallo had a shot as well that got a bit of a deflection that Patricio dealt with quite easily, but it's positive. And I thought Diallo looked positive today. So he gets a 7. Mata, last game for the club. Converted penalty, obviously. I thought he had an okay game. I thought he could have been involved a bit more. He had a lot of the ball, but in terms of when it was actually like ticking over and getting near the goal and the chances, I thought he was a little bit quiet. But his experience is invaluable, and I thought he had an above average game. So I'll give him a 6. It's a good performance to bow out on if it is his last performance anyway. Dan James, give a 6 to as well. Put the cross in for the Elanga header, obviously. But then he made a hash of that chance for himself to score. But his energy was good. He was positive. Just the quality again. But a terrific assist for the Elanga goal. So I'd give him a 6. Elanga I'd give a 7 to. Obviously he scored the header. And I just thought he looked tidy today. He was in and out of the game a bit, but I thought when he was involved, he looked good. So I'd give him a 7. And then the 3 subs, we had Shoretire, Hannibal and Fish. Shoretire looked, had a few good touches, can control, like close to his feet. He was quick with it. I thought he looked positive. Give him a 6. Fish very, very at the end. I'd give him an average because he literally had about 30 seconds. And Hannibal, I thought looked the best out of the ones that come on. So I'd give him a 7. He made some runs. He looked strong for someone his size. He's only a youngster, remember, and I thought he looked very positive. So I think I'd like to see a lot more of Hannibal because he looks like a baller already from the little bit I've seen of him. So he gets a 7. Ollie, for me today, I'd give him a 7. Considering the lineup he put out, I thought you've made a mess of this and we're going to get embarrassed. And we got the result. So fair play to him. He gets his props for that. But I would have put the likes of Pogba and Bruno and Rashford and that, I would have brung them on. But I think Rashford was on the bench, wasn't he? But Bruno and Pogba wasn't. So, the likes of them and Shaw, I think they have to get on even if it's 10 minutes. So they're not going into that final cold feet. But he hasn't done that. We've got the result. But it could be problematic for the final because they haven't got these minutes under their belt that could have kept them ticking over until that final. So it's going to be interesting, but I'll give him his credit today, Ollie. He got the 3 points, bringing out the youngsters as well. So he gets a 7 for me. Could even get an 8, you could argue, but a 7 for me. And man of the match is between Tuanzebe and Donny van der Beek for me today. Either way, I wouldn't be mad who you give it to, but I'm going to give it to Donny van der Beek today. I thought he looked very influential. He was good on the ball, he was tight, he was neat, and he won the penalty as well. It's the best performance I've seen from him. And that's what I've been waiting to see from Donny. So he gets my man of the match today, and I will be back either tomorrow or Tuesday with the preview for the Europa League final. Excited for that one, a little bit nervous as well, but I'll speak to you guys then.